by stopping to collect your personal belongings. Once outside the building, you will be directed by security staff and trained members of staff to the assembly point. Remain at the offensive fire or any assistance call 44540999. Our trained staff will assist you. Be prepared to provide your contact number and describe the best access routes to the building. If you have any questions about our fire evacuation procedures, please ask one of our trained staff members how can be identified through the wall-mounted posters or security staff. We hope you have a great day with us, and your stay here is pleasant and safe.
Just about like experience so far.
Okay, again, thank you all very much for coming. My name is Program Manager for Incubation here at UCP. I was very simple about how people launch growth startups. Many people here at UCP and passionate to do that. So thank you all. So this is Demo Day Cycle 50. We've been doing this for many years now. I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of everyone here that's pitching this evening. They put a lot of work, a lot of passion and commitment into this day. And I'm very, very grateful for you all taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. It's a long journey to be a startup founder, of course. A lot of us here have experience doing that. Some of us don't. But the important thing, I think, is that you start that journey if you're interested. Today is the first step. We have 8 teams presenting. For many of them, I believe it will be their first step in a longer journey of launching and growing their startups. And it's important for them to realize that QSTP is here, our staff is here, committed to helping them launch, grow, interacting with founders. We have many founders, many startups here with experience. We have connections with the investment community. So it's a good place for them and for all of you who are thinking about taking a little bit of a leap, launching a startup, to know that you have a place like QSTP to support you. And I hope you take advantage of that opportunity. A lot of QSTP staff are here this evening. A lot of staff from the ecosystem are here. If you have ideas or you want to know more about how we can support you, please just reach out to us. In terms of logistics, I'll quickly go over this so that you can start with the pitches and everyone excited. My welcome remarks are done. In terms of the judging, I'd like your help with the judging actually. 8 teams will be pitching, and I'd like your help in deciding which team you think is the best. I'll ask you to select 3 of your top teams, 1, 2, 3, and that your score will contribute to the score that's being tabulated by our 4 judges. So you're actively part of selecting who the top winners are. The top winners do get something from QSTP. Apart from a computer, we're giving them office space, we're giving them support, mentoring, access to our community, our network, just to get them up on their feet. Should they wish to decide to launch a startup, QSTP will be their home. In terms of the criteria, very simple. We don't want to make it too complicated, but when you're looking at the team, just look at, does this make a good business opportunity in your opinion? Number 1. And since not everything is all about business, it's nice to make a profit, but the world doesn't always revolve around money and business. Let's take a thought to the impact of the startup. So it's difficult to say if someone's going to succeed, but if you can give some thought to impact. So if you feel one of these startup pitches you feel has a very high impact, by all means consider that in your evaluation. The judges will as well. And I'll just say thank you to the judges, the 4 judges that we have here this afternoon. Asma Jaferi from Plata Museums, Abdallah Khenji from Finjan VC, Mr. Marcel Reish from Prigan, and an important member of our investment community, and Ms. Hesla Slaty, the CEO, who took the lead from the XLR8 program, the previous cycle of the XLR8 program. So thank you to the judges for taking your time. Of course, we have mentors that have supported these startups for the past 14 weeks of the program. we couldn't do any of this with the mentors. And I see many of the mentors here, so thank you all very much for your time and commitment. And thank you to the team, of course, for your commitment throughout the journey. So, I'd like to ask the first team to prepare their pitch and take note, and we'll give you an opportunity to score them after the pitch. So let's start with the first team, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Jacob Matthew. I'm an emergency physician. I've treated over 60,000 patients in my career. That experience has shown me that the real productivity killer in emergency care isn't the medicine, it's paperwork, it's documentation. And we created BioSort AI to help with this solution, with this problem, to sort out the issue of denials within the emergency care system. Your ER doctors lose more than 2 hours in a shift due to redocumentation and work. More than 15 to 20% of our revenue in ERs can be lost due to denials. In 2022, there were 700,000 ED visits, emergency department visits, to HMC. Each time that you have to rework a claim as a doctor, this can lead to up to $117 per reworking of the claim. And ER doctors spend up to a third on electronic health records their time. That's documentation. We're here not to spend time in front of a computer, we're here to spend time with our patients. We need to develop a solution we looked at where we need something that will give us real-time help, invisible in the workflow, not adding disruption to it, but at the same time enabling us to explain the coding, explain what is going on, and helping us to focus on what really matters, and that is more time to care. This ecosystem of emergency department documentation and billing can be estimated to be a $12 billion industry. We're aiming to target $3 million within Qatar for the next 3 years. And in line with this is the national privatized insurance model that Qatar is going to adopt, which will enable us to be, uniquely position us to be a real player at the time when it has broad adoption. So what's the solution? It's multi-agentic AI with 4 agents: a scribe agent, a coder agent, an auditor, and a claims strategist. Picture yourself going into an ED with right lower quadrant pain. It looks like it could be appendicitis. BioSort AI listens in the background so that you don't need to spend time clicking, typing, silently, so it takes and hears and it enables you to do the documentation. The scribe agent transcribes this into structured medical notes. This is then moves to the coder agent. The coder agent takes standardized billable, the standardized billable conditions like ICD-11 and CPT and matches it to the required conditions. The auditor agent acts like a compliance agent, a second opinion you could say, where it reviews what's done. This all comes together in the claims strategist agent. What does the claims strategist agent do? It actually functions as an insurance analyst, looking at how likely is this claim to be denied. And it makes suggestions beforehand so that the hospital or doctor, before submitting the claim, can make the necessary adjustments. There are many competitors that do different things in specific items of this. There are people who do transcription, people who do coding, people who even do a little bit of auditing. But no one has been able to integrate real-time documentation, auditing, coding, and all of these aspects together for the region, for Qatar, and for Qatar's digital privacy law as well. We're looking at, in terms of growth, for Q1, to establish our MVP, build it up, validate the agency. In Q2, what we're aiming to look at is our first paid pilot, which will then, we will look to publish the KPIs and the data that we get there. In Q3, what we're looking to then do is grow from that and convert that into an annual license, in addition to scaling to other outpatients and other medical specialties. By Q4, this will be ready for public sector readiness by year 2. What we're looking at is an 800K seed round to help us build this, and strategic introductions for the ED clinic, and to build up our core team. We need a founding CTO and other relevant advisors to help us build this. I'm a emergency physician and disaster medicine specialist with leadership roles as a COO and CEO in health tech. My wife and co-founder is a surgeon, and in addition to that, leads a school network of 4,000 plus students and brings that operational and management capabilities as well. What we're looking at is not to bring more chaos, not to bring more noise into the system, but to enable Qatar's digital health future, one ED encounter, one clean claim, one AI-powered solution at a time. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent pitch. A couple of comments. When you talk about the total addressable market, make sure that you put the source of the information. Very important. Second, I have a question for you. So you are husband and wife.
Yes.
Amazing, mashallah. What's the share agreement between you two? The reason why it's been known sometimes that it's not clear when it's in the family business. So that's my first question. The last question is, did you hear about a company called NetIQ? And it's not in your competitive slides. It's a lady, a doctor like you,
Yes.
who was sick for 2 years. And she basically, based on her own personal story, she launched exactly more functionality that you're doing here. And now she just signed all the KSA hospital. So I think on the competitive landscape, make sure that you do something like NetIQ. This is public information. Thank you. So 2 questions for you.
So in terms of the split
Yes.
between my wife and myself, to be very transparent with you, we are still yet to completely iron that out. We will follow the best practices, and I'd like to consult with others, and we both will make something that should be, what my aim is, it should not deter investors, but in fact invite investors. To your second point, sir, you're absolutely right, and I have, if I'm not mistaken, NetIQ, I put some of the data, and I have, sorry, my slides have gone off, but I have an appendix where I kind of detailed it, especially building out on the total addressable market, in addition to the other point that you have mentioned.
So my first question is, do you have a working MVP that something ready, or is it just an idea stage at this point?
So, Ahmed, I have in the slides, this is a prototype that is currently that has been developed, and it is currently moving towards MVP. I won't call it an MVP because it's not ready to go to the market. What I want to do is build it up because it's going to be powered by 4 agents that are powered by specific models that have to be fine-tuned.
This is my second question is, are you currently using Gemini, ChatGPT or something? How do you address the security of data confidentiality of the patients as well?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Thank you for addressing that. Within this, we have identified that I'm not going into too specifics. I'm happy even to have that one-on-one with you later, because it's as we build up the tech, I want to be careful on what I share publicly versus what is being shared one-on-one One, the models will be specifically fine-tuned that have medical training already. So Gemini, Google has released MedCom2. There is Llama, which has some fine-tuning to do. So we're in the current process of narrowing it down. So the specific model that suits the specific agent.
So my question is, will you be transferring patients' confidential data to these models back and forth? Because you get my point.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very valid point because with patient data, patient health information, PHI, there are a number of rules that have to be followed, especially with the privacy laws. And in addition, this is going to be built in, not put it on a slide, but going to be built in with best practices from HIPAA and GDPR inside complying with that. So absolutely it has to be done within those things, but there will be some sharing of de-anonymized data so that we can make information. So de-identification will have to happen. I hope that answers.
Great questions from the judges. We'll keep it at 2 questions so that the floor keeps going. Thank you both very much. Thank you very much. I'll ask the next team, Onigiri, to please prepare to present.
Hello everyone, my name is David, and I represent Onigiri. We help companies capture and unify the artisan's knowledge. This is John and Ahmed. They both work on the same project, and they have a milestone to deliver very soon. Unfortunately, John will not be available for the next 3 months, which puts Ahmed in a very difficult position. He will not be able to deliver the work on time, and the whole project will be delayed. All of this because he doesn't have access to John's work. And Ahmed is not the only one in this situation. Every year in Qatar, the loss of productivity due to absence is estimated to more than $9 billion. This is where we're coming. With Onigiri, you can access not only your work, but also the work of your teammates, all in the same place. How does it work? You simply connect your apps. You simply connect your apps, and Onigiri will structure the knowledge in the background. In this example, John is connecting his mailbox. Once this is done, his whole team will be able to access the work that he's done so far. This represents for Ahmed the opportunity to ask about all the work he's done. For example, he needs to know about the Cairo project. And he just asks, and Onigiri will fetch all the connected apps and gather all the relevant information into an answer. In this case, Ahmed is mostly interested in the first part of the answer. He clicks on it, and it's opening the thread of conversation with Onigiri. And here we can see all the events that happened and all the events that will take place. He's mostly interested in the 10th of June, because there's testing 5 days before meeting with the client. In this case, he can continue the discussion and get all the status of readiness of all items in of the testing. Now that the knowledge is unified, Ahmed can resume work and not delay the project. To recap, you simply connect your apps, and the knowledge, instead of being scattered around different apps and different colleagues, is available in one place, and anybody can access it. On top of that, the knowledge is persistent. On our platform, you can manage who can access what and which apps are connected. You can also seek the knowledge through the library or an LLM. Through an LLM. Regarding the market, we've seen that Qatar has a market of $9 billion per year. We are targeting only, for now, the large and medium firms in consulting and tech. This represents 0.4% of the market and $35 million annually. Our revenue model will be a subscription of $10 per employee and per month. And with this estimation, we expect to have a revenue of $1.2 million in 2028. Of course, there are competitors, but we are the only one offering a seamless capture and structure of the knowledge. This represents for your team the most efficient user experience in the market. So far, we've done our researches and we've built our prototypes accordingly. We are now actively looking for partners who tell us which features they need or not. By the end of this year, we expect to have the MVP, and then we'll start scaling up in 2026. For the year 2026, we'll need $250,000, which will be mostly to pay our bills, but also to hire some functional guidance and to afford the computing resources that we need. I am the CEO with over 10 years of experience in app development, including 3 in startups. Bastien is a network and security expert. He's the CTO. Julie is a business manager with extensive experience in the Middle East. She's the COO. Across our past experiences, we've all been facing the same issue, whether it's in a big or a small company. When a colleague is absent, the knowledge is unavailable. And this is why we've decided to build Onigiri to help companies capture and unify their team's knowledge.
I just have a question from my side. Did you do any idea testing on this? Does this fit well in the market you are trying to target, whether it's other in the Middle East or internationally? I do know that sometimes the knowledge is not captured, it's not documented, so what's your take on that? I also do know that people do not want to provide access to their, for example, tools, Slack. There are some confidential information that not necessarily to share to colleagues. What kind of, could you tell me more about how did you test this idea and the feasibility exercise you've done, and which market you want to target?
So far, what we've done is that we discussed with companies, and the problem of the missing knowledge, the unavailable knowledge, was everywhere. Now, maybe it's a sacrifice for some people, but the sacrifice is worth it considering that it's their choice.
Create energy on the stage and clear problem, solution fit with them. My question, how do you plan to ensure data security and knowledge validation within the system and the scheme?
Right now, to make sure that the data are not going to any third-party LLM or anything else, we redact all the information, all the names, so that the LLM can still, all the software can still do their job, but they don't have access to the data. On a later stage, we will see if it's possible to have an in-house device for the storage and language models.
Any other questions from the Hello everyone, this is Ayatollah, and today I am excited to introduce them, an AI-powered academic advisor that transforms how students access guidance. First, I want to take you back to my first year at university. I was lost, overwhelmed, and confused about what courses to take, what scholarships did I qualify for, and where I could find opportunities to grow. My academic advisor? Overworked. The university website? Complicated. I spent weeks trying to get simple answers that should have been instant, and I wasn't alone. In fact, 50% of students lack academic guidance, just like I did. That's why we built 7, an AI-powered academic advisor that supports high school students throughout university. We aim to make decision-making for their students 70% faster, and at the same time, reduce the workloads on advisors by 60%. So, how does it work? Simple. First, we match you with the right major depending on your preferences, and depending on your preferences, like which major, which hobbies do you have, and what country do you want to study in. Then, we can support you apply to the best university that offers that program. And finally, once enrolled, you have your academic advisor in your pocket. We have onboarded over 100 universities across Malaysia, Georgia, Honduras, and Turkey. We have over 50 beta testers for our AI chatbots. And we have been recognized globally by GITEX Global, winning the 2nd place, the Best Service Award by Ijaz Qatar, and finally, we are representing Qatar in the Holt Prize this August in the US. Our sum is by targeting 5% of the MENA EdTech University Counseling market, which is valued at $250 million. Now, let's talk business. We're running a B2B model by taking commission fee per enrolled student from universities, and for the chatbot model, we're taking a subscription fee to customize our chatbot for their systems. Senate differentiates itself from other competitors like Imanogo and study portals because we provide you with the guidance and academic advice that is customized for your interests. So, why are we doing this? By 2030, Qatar aims to diversify its source of economy. Education and tourism is an untapped sector that aligns perfectly with that vision. We are a strong team backed by a strong advisory board. I'm a peer academic advisor at Qatar University, which gave me insights on the problem from the student side and at the same time from the advisor side. My friend Maryam Malik, she's a well-known educational advocate nationally, and we have a tech team that has expertise in AI and back-end engineering. We're backed by a strong advisory board, such as Professor Rana Sabah. She is on the one top influential people for education, and other advisors who give us insights on the business strategy and the student affairs aspect of our program. We're asking for $135,000 investment, so it fuels our roadmap for scaling 7. Here's how we will make an impact. We're targeting to onboard over 500 students by the next 6 months, and building our product enhancements so we can build our AI matching system being accurate for students. And finally, onboarding over 10 universities to try our chatbot, customizing it for their institution. With your support, we won't just change education, we will change who has access to it. Senate means support in Arabic. It means a future where no student is left confused or lost. We're here to bridge the gap and position Qatar as a global educational hub. You can scan the QR code and explore Senate today. Judges, let's make this vision into reality. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions in Arabic from the judges, if you can. Accommodate.
I just have a suggestion. Well done for a good presentation. I think what you should be really taking as a message from a vision perspective, as a founder, you're giving me the impression that you are playing down in a humble way, just starting small, and you're just mentioning only 130K. I strongly believe, and I've seen a lot of platforms like this in the UK, France, from a European perspective, and in the US it's much bigger. So I think you should really have that strong message that this is the MENA/GCC portal gateway, end of story. You have to be really, really bullish about it. That's my first advice to you. And then on the 130K, I think you should maybe look at family, friends, and fools like me. Sometimes we like to help. And then make a bigger, do like MVP, MVP plus. Put some MOUs or LOIs with universities across the MENA region. I go further than that, maybe even going East Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Pakistan, India, I think that's what Qatar is well, including Turkey, of course, much bigger market. And then come to a bigger round and say, you're looking for 100K. Because when you start at 130K, for me, you're just focusing on delivering that Qatar small project. Be local, but think global. That's my advice to you. Thank you.
شكرا جزيلا لكم. كان أقول المسألة الأولى أن if you're raising 100,000 for 100,000 it's the same work. maybe raising more. أنا عندي سؤال، أنت قلتي يعني ما شاء الله عندك يعني واجهتي هالمشكلة في جامعة قطر من الطلاب. شو هي المشكلة أكبر مشكلة واجهوها كل الطلاب؟ هاي السؤال.
اوكي، اولا نحن سعيدين جدا ان اليوم نكون معاكم هنا. طبعا المشكله اللي واجهناها هي بالارض الواقع، ان كنا نحجز موعد مع المرشد، لكن اكتشفنا ان المرشد الواحد عنده 500 طالب 8 مواعيد في اليوم الواحد، فبالتالي احنا ما نغطي يعني حتى ربع الطلاب. هذا الشيء راح ياثر حتى على اهداف دوله قطر فيما يخص التنميه المستدامه. هذا يدعم نوع من انواع التنميه الضعيفه وليست القويه، فبالتالي ما حد يستفيد. المعلومه تصل بشكل متاخر، الطالب يتعثر كثيرا، فبالتالي يصل هناك وعي كبير، تاخرات حتى في الوصول الى انهم يوصلون للخطه الصحيحه والمعلومه الصحيحه. اليوم نتعثر، نحتاج المعلومه توصلنا بشكل سريع جدا.
أعتقد مستشفى شنو هي أكبر مشكلة؟ هل هي المواعيد، حجز المواعيد، ولا معلومة صح ومعلومة غلط؟
أكبر مشكلة هي توافر المعلومات بطريقة تكون organized. لأنها مو organized فالمعلومات بتطول لو توصلني، فبضطر أحجز موعد مع المرشد الأكاديمي اللي ما عنده أصلا مواعيد، لأنه في 500 طالب غير عم يحاول يوصل للمرشد الأكاديمي. فالأسئلة اللي هي superficial تكون سطحية نحن حابين نساعد فيها بواسطة ال AI chatbots، والطلاب اللي داخلين على الجامعة اللي لسه ما عندهم موجودين بالجامعة، لحتى كمان ما ياخذوا مواعيد مع الادفايسرز اللي اوريدي عم يحاولوا يساعدوا الطلاب الموجودين بالجامعة. حيكون في AI matching system to match them with the right major, right universities. I can view the requirements لحتى أقدم على الميجر معين. شكرا جزيلا.
We have one more pitch, finger pass, envelope pitch. I'll remind you that at the break, we have a well-known and highly respected founder, Hamid Hadid Said. Him and I will have this conversation. I'd like to encourage you to stay and ask questions as well to the CEO. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time today. My name is Amr Hassan. I'm the founder and CEO of FingerPass. We are a fintech company that offers virtual banking cards that are biometrically secured with your finger vein pattern. If you're already asking what is finger vein pattern, it is basically what your veins look like underneath your skin. We are focused on online transactions and embedded finance. So the problems we're aiming to solve are many, but they can be summarized in the following points. There is a lack of a robust biometric security system for online transactions. whenever you put your card details online, they are stored somewhere and potentially accessible by cyber hackers. Nowadays, there is a growing number of cyber attacks, given that there's multiple social media groups where you can basically get a step-by-step guide on how to conduct these data breaches. And the current existing facilities we have today of OTPs and passwords have proven to be vulnerable. And that's why our solution does not use any OTPs or passwords. If you see the consumers today, they are demanding high-level security and convenience when they shop online, which is a very big challenge for many payment solutions. So when we looked at the market opportunity, we found that it was recorded that there's been more than $11 billion of personal financial losses in 2024 due to data breaches. And this is expected to rise year by year. And on average, there's more than 41 million people that are victims of data breaches every year. So immediately, that is our target customer. The secure payment solution market itself is growing at 25% per year, so there is good market potential for us. So what is our solution? We are offering a virtual card system with a hardware-based biometric security verification layer in the form of a smart screen protector for your phone. Now that is a mouthful. To put it simply, we have a software component and a hardware component. The software component, this will function like your typical virtual card system, basically with better enhanced features for better user experience and flexibility. The user can create multiple virtual cards. This can be merchant-based, time-based, or even amount-based. They will be able to easily manage their subscriptions. They can mask their banking card and even banking information. And because we have the finger vein security system, they can use it on any website without any worry at all. Now, the hardware component, this is what differentiates us from the market in the form of a smart screen protector. As you can see here in the diagram, it consists of multiple layers. The main layer is the protective layer. There's the organic photodiodes that will collect the vein image. You have the transparent circuit board and the ultra-thin PV cells. Now, when we combine those layers together, our smart screen protector will be fully transparent, so it does not hinder the display. It will have self-charging capabilities from the phone, from the light coming off the phone itself, as well as the surrounding light, and it will be 1 millimeter in thickness. If you compare that to your regular screen protector, it's around 0.5 millimeters, so we are around double that. And all these components are available and have been tested by their respective technology providers. So when you combine the software and hardware component, you get this very simplified workflow. The user will create a virtual card to make a purchase online. They will receive that transaction on their phone. Once they click yes, they will be asked to scan their finger vein. Once that is approved, the transaction is complete. With this system, we are in full control of the user experience and the payment process. We are able to integrate the finger vein pattern as an authentication gateway. And because the system can be used on any phone type, we are able to target the customer directly. So our ask is $200,000 US, and the investment will go towards human resources, where we are looking to add a software engineer and an electronics engineer to our team. We want to look at patenting the technology for external use and maybe also internal use. And we want to go through prototype testing of different versions of the system. With the investment, we can go to market with a beta solution in 7 to 8 months. So our core team includes myself. I'm the CEO. I have a mechanical engineering background. We have also Abdurrahman, who's the CTO. He has a computer engineering background. Together, we are working on providing a solution that delivers on privacy, security, and convenience, which collectively offers the customer one of the best feelings, which is peace of mind. Thank you very much. Questions?
Very creative solution. My question, how you will connect your device with the real bank system?
Excellent question. So the circuit board itself has a Bluetooth module. That Bluetooth module will connect via Bluetooth to the application, and that way you'll be able to transfer that image data that you collect to authenticate, to do the matching process.
I'm curious to know a few things. so you said it's gonna be like a screen protector on the phone. Does that mean that you have to constantly manufacture screens based on the newest edition or the newest version of the iPhones or the Android or any other devices? How do you mitigate the screen sizes, the differences in screen sizes?
Yeah, so for the hardware, of course, it's going to be custom as per phone type, so iPhone 14, iPhone 15. So we're targeting maybe the popular phones first. But during the enrollment stage, what we want to do is that when you come to enroll for the program, you will tell us what phone you have, that you want to have the screen protector, so we will custom make that. Because the revenue model is not really on the hardware, the revenue model will be on subscription of the application.
And I also want to know about how do you set it up? Like, do you set it up once for all of your phones, or do you set it per phone or per device you have? The application.
Yeah, the idea is the hardware is going to be per phone. So if you have an iPhone, you want to have the system itself, the app can be for all your banking cards. So if you have a bank, whichever card, we can mask it. So you mask the card with a virtual card, and then you use that virtual card online for any transaction. You don't use the actual QNB or bank or actual card itself.
I have 3 cards from 3 different banks. Do I set it 3 times, or do you do it once for all 3 cards? Or?
No, the application will be for all 3 cards, but you can mask whichever card you want. You can mask the same, let's say you have a Doha Bank, you can mask that same card with multiple virtual cards. So each card can have like 3 virtual cards.
And finally, how accurate is the technology of actually getting the prints, the brain imaging? For example, like different people have perfumes or hand creams, or is it affected by heat? Is it affected by sweat? Or like how is the accuracy of this?
Excellent question. I think you have a techie here. Basically, the organic photodiodes, they're not affected by any sweat or the heat or any moisture on the finger. They are able to, because we will have a full screen photodiode, you can put your finger anywhere on the screen and be able to scan your finger data.
I think I will let our subject matter expert Hamad to speak about his knowledge on cybersecurity. What do you think that people are pushing back, advising any transaction, banking, military access, biotech lab access, more towards MFA? MFA means multiple authentication. And therefore, they're saying that maybe the actual finger, the actual device input can be subject to dust, humidity, etc., etc. And if you get it wrong, and like a password, you always complain about the password. I'm an HSBC customer, I'm not doing publicity to them. I always like to call the actual center for support, and they can actually authenticate and basically send me a new reset password, which is much easier for me. So what do you think about this MFA concept within your limitation of having just a fingerprint or iris? And the next one, I don't know if you heard about the latest one, which apparently is the next gen, which is a heartbeat. I didn't realize that all of us have a single heartbeat. So there's companies that are looking at like a Whoop type watch connected to a heartbeat, and therefore it's going to beat all these digital authentication systems, iris plus the finger. So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll tell you this. The fact, the system now is more of a reactive rather than preventative. So when something happens, so there's a situation, like you said, you have to go to HSBC, you have to always react. And because we are targeting online banking, we are not looking at login just yet. That is, of course, down the line. But that's the reason logins and passwords and OTPs are not immune to hacking. Because people use the same passwords, use the same email for multiple websites and multiple, everything's online pretty much. So there's multiple passwords that you need to remember. So people become complacent. And that complacency is why we created the system, especially focused on online transactions, because when you embed your card on any website, whether it's Amazon, Talabat, any of those, you're basically authorizing transactions whether you are the one doing it or somebody else. So that's why we want to focus on fingerprint pattern, and that in itself is unique to everyone here. Everyone here has a different fingerprint pattern, but the same biometric limitations here with tech will also be in the same heartbeat, right? Because if the heartbeat you don't get it accurately, then you still need a backup or a fallback method. Exactly, but we will have a fallback method here. So in case the screen, let's say your phone gets stolen, the screen is not available, it gets damaged, you're not locked out of your bank account. So we do have a backup, a fallback idea that we will implement because we don't want it to be just reliant on one biometric, right? So there will be probably a PIN code that you need to remember, but it's definitely way better than having OTP or password, which are easily hackable.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, in that case, may I ask the distinguished guest, Mr. Hamid Hadid, CEO of Cyclone, to join the stage.
Thank you.
You are the founder and CEO of Cyclone, an Australian education city. You were studying aviation KU. You know the ecosystem well, especially here in Education City. You're an accomplished founder. You've been working hard on building your company. I would like to maybe, you have a lot of great insights and experience. I'd like to maybe touch on a few key parts of the journey. First, about survival. I want to touch about that. This is going to be a very frank conversation. So, and then after the survival topics, we can talk a little bit more about your growth. So, to begin with, it's not easy to want to start out. You're a young man, you have many options. And I think it's really, for me, it's curious to understand why a startup founder wants to be a founder. What are the motivations? Trying to understand why you decided, given all the options you had working in cybersecurity, what was the motivation for you to start Cyclone?
Thank you for the introduction and the question. Hello everyone, I'm Hamid Ali, the CEO of Cyclone, and just add a quick slight information about who am I as well. Yes, I am Qatar Foundation alumni from HQKU as Master in Cybersecurity, as well as I used to be a mission critical captain in Oman. So I was handling mission critical systems in Oman on the national level. So having both channels of knowledge that are coming from education point of view as well as hands-on experience in the industry makes me decide to go to the next level, which is building a cybersecurity company that solves not only Qatar-based cybersecurity problems, but solving real cybersecurity problems on an international level. So I believe Qatar is coming from future. So I have different perspective. I look at the market from different mindset. I believe we are the future of technology in Qatar. The same applies to the whole region as GCC. I believe what we can innovate here in Qatar or in the region in terms of cybersecurity or deep tech or AI, it is going to be widely used in the other regions in the near future. So this is my mindset, and this is what I am trying to present here in cybersecurity and Cyclone as part of the region. Yeah.
So would you say that your experience before you launched Cyclone, working with the government, understanding their needs, has that been very important to developing your product, developing your team, understanding the customer needs?
Yeah, my journey was quite traumatic. on the graduation day of my bachelor, I was commissioned also sent to study in the United States of America at the University of North Carolina. So at my graduation day, it was 30th of June 2017, right after the blockade, I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So the blockade started on June 5th, I think. And one of my colleagues who used to study with me in the States had a sarcastic joke with me that Hamad, good luck, and it seems you are graduating at the perfect time. Good luck in protecting your home country.
He used something.
Yes, in my graduation day. So I answered him, what do you mean by what you're saying? He said, Qatar was hacked 3 weeks ago, and we are very good engineers. We studied together for the past 4 years. We know they are very good in hands-on experience in network engineering as well. You used to teach us in the library of the university, so good luck in protecting your home country. This was the actual motivation why SiteMate to exist in the first place. So it is as an answer to that colleague who gave challenge to someone. And I believe Qatar could turn each and every challenge into a success story. We turned so many challenges in the past into many successful stories. And if we go to each and every great milestone that Qatar has, in terms of energy producing to the World Cup and to many, and even Qatar Airways is an answer to that challenge. So each and every success that Qatar had in the past was an answer to a challenge that Qatar was facing. And Qatar did not decide to face that challenge, it was actually put against that challenge. And this is like within the DNA of Qatar as a nation, that each and every challenge that we face, we have to make a success story out of it. And not only a normal success story, it has to be an international level. So SiteMate is an answer to a cybersecurity challenge that happened, which is the hack of the Qatar News Agency. And this is not a hack of Qatari entity, it is a hack of the technologies that are being used to protect that Qatari entity. So the problem is quite big and an international level. And what we are focused on doing is highlighting those kind of issues and technologies, and showing the clients and the audience that solving these technologies, problems and limitations is not a big deal. Can do it.
So let's talk a little bit more about the challenges. You've taken on the challenge when you decided to run SiteMate. But the cybersecurity industry, globally speaking, is very competitive, some very big players. And here comes Hamad Fatih with a new startup in a small country. Can you talk a little bit more? I'm not sure if the technical challenges, I'm not sure if we need to get into technical challenges, but there are business challenges. You're trying to establish yourself in the market. What were those challenges and how did you manage to overcome some of them?
Not the normal challenges, it is very complex, complicated challenges. Not only building a cybersecurity startup in Qatar, in fact, is a one problem, but also that cybersecurity startup is claiming that it can evaluate the other technologies. So this is a very complex challenge, and especially for audience who knows Qatar was hacked a few years ago. So this itself is, I see it a hazard, that we have 3 big problems and challenges that I need to answer in front of each and every client, whether the client is Qatari or someone who's living here for a long time, or someone is completely new and recently joining Qatar. So these kind of, and we are not tapping yet into cybersecurity yet, just we're talking about business. So the idea and the messaging itself is very hard to be believed, and it's quite, it is quite optimistic in terms of the first audience who usually hear about the offering society, the reason why they want to exist, and especially when they see me with the poker face, with no smile, being very serious, talking about what I can solve, what my company can solve. It is actually, I enjoy this every day, speaking with clients and seeing their doubt, that they doubt that we could evaluate multi-billion-dollar technologies, and we could show their weaknesses to those clients, and even we can show them how they can improve their own security posture. We are talking about the most difficult business in the technology field, and we are talking about very open market. Qatar is a very competitive market. The whole GCC is very competitive market. It is a market that each and every vendor in cybersecurity to target, even if they want to grow in their home countries, in Europe or the United States of America, or in any other regions, or even in Japan. And if they want to grow in international level, they must visit GCC and try to see whether GCC is going to accept them or not. So we are not yet, or we're not anymore a consumer market. We are actually one of the most targeted markets. And we are very open as a market to any technology that comes. So if you grow your company in this market, the bar is very high, the competition is very high. And if your idea is not good, if you are as a leader of that company not up to the challenge, the chances of getting up to the market are very high, especially for a market that is very open. So you and many other competitors can go to the same client and show them a lot of offerings and services and technologies, and the client will decide where they want to go. Yeah.
I used to work for startups, as you know, in Canada and the US. One of our biggest challenges, and I think this is common for all startups, is getting your first customer. It's often not that they don't trust your technology, but if I do buy your technology, how do I know you'll be here in 2 or 3 years? So it's not really a technical, they don't have an issue with the technology per se, this is my experience. They have concerns about the business itself, the staying power of the business. Can you talk a little bit about, did you face those types of things, especially with your first few customers? It's not an easy industry that you're in.
Yes. As I say, cybersecurity is a sensitive market, especially here in Qatar. For any organization, they see it as extra sensitive market. They don't want to be the second hacked organization as well. So these type of sensitivities are putting much more complex problem solving. Going back to the first client. Also, the beginning of Cybernet was the first client took a very long time. Going back to how did we start the company? We started it from different perspectives. We didn't start as a startup. We started as an R&D lab for the first 2 years, getting funds from Qatar Foundation and many other entities, including even KSTP as well. So we benchmarked ourselves as an R&D lab. Then we created the company, which is called Cybernet. So the journey was quite different, and this was, in my instant belief, that the journey of our company should be a different approach than any other typical startup that comes from any other region, whether from the west, from the east, from even any other region that is not very similar to the region here in the Middle East. So we started this journey, and that gave very high expectations on the company, that what it is providing is actually something different. So then I entered the market with several targeted clients, that they should be our first believers. But this is the journey of being an entrepreneur. None of those companies or clients that I selected to be our first believers were actually the first believers. It was completely something came out of the sudden that we were not planning, and it was even bigger than whatever we planned. We had the government of Qatar as the first client, just the World Cup, 10 mission critical entities at the same time, taking it or leave. So this is a challenge that Cybernet has faced, and this was the first client with such a big project. And the reason why we were selected, because simply we can do that. That's it. No much more complexities, no much more tendering process, no much more convincing of VCs or investors or clients or CTO or CISO or even the CEO to go with our solution. You claim that you can give those mission-critical organizations a hard time before the World Cup. You can hack them. Just try it. Do it. Society rate hacked all the 10 mission-critical organizations for the World Cup. So the beginning of the company was completely different story, different experience. We were very sincere and believing in the technology we are building. We believe all the technologies in cybersecurity and AI had limitations. We believe those vendors are not shedding the lights on their limitations. And we worked our technology to shed the lights on those limitations and to give the clients the way how to solve these limitations and to fit in the gap of minimizing the gaps of those limitations. This message was happy with, and the audience was very big on the national level. So our journey was completely different than what I planned for them. And then the clients started to onboard and yeah, the challenges were continuing with Secretary Assistant, and then the client after client were opening the door, and then the reputation is naturally growing. This is how it started, yeah.
Now that you have an established reputation, can we talk just a little bit about your journey? So the survival is obviously you survived them well. Can we maybe touch a little bit on what your priorities are for the company as you think about growth, maybe even outside of Qatar? Where do you think you're focusing your attention in the next year or two?
Yeah. Talking about the survival of the company had so many challenges, had so many stages, that if I list that to you, you would say that how come we are still believing in the journey of Saturate at those times, and how come we continue growing. So no matter what is the market reaction to you, if you believe in your idea, if you are subject matter expert in the area that you are trying to solution to, whether the market is ready for that or not, it is a matter of time and patience until the right moment comes. And maybe the right moment might come right before they collapse. So, or you give up on that idea. So have patience and have much more faith in the solution that you provide, and don't let audience to let you down. Because some audience are not experts in the field that you talk about, or you are trying to solve. You are going to be the one who has the saying in the field that you are talking about. So treat the audience as most of the time having less information about the field they are operating at, and you just target one thing out of them. Sell them your idea, sell them your product, sell them your own, to trust in your own company and your own journey. And this is how you have a prescription for building your own company. Cytomate, going back to Cytomate, we were rejected multiple times, hundreds of times. And the same people who rejected us 2 years ago now are the same people who are taking advices from us into how to improve their security posture. This was a journey of being resistant, persistent, believing in the idea they have, believing in the technology they are building, believing in the message they are building, and the joy out of this, the kind of reward that you get by seeing the impact. You mentioned something about the impact. Having the impact of changing a whole market mindset, from taking any product that comes to them or any vendor of cybersecurity that comes to them, to being very selective, to be very capable in auditing the vendors itself is a huge impact, and very satisfied that I increased the security posture here in Qatar. So this is an impact that I am very happy with. I hear always that Qatar is not a very big market. I disagree with this, especially for B2B. You're most probably going to be one of one or one of two providers in the market. So Qatar is a very rich market, and with very international level organizations that are your possible clients. Within 10 kilometers radius, you can go to Qatar Airways, you can go to Qatar Energy, you can go to KLP, and all of them are very international audience and clients. So digging into having your own presence and roots in Qatar is actually not a bad idea. It's actually the safest growth strategy they might have. So if you have one project, you can have another version of that project or third version of that project that targets different markets. So if you are B2C, you can fine-tune your own project to fit more B2B or B2G. Grow deep inside Qatar. So Qatar could be your test bed. And this is something that I want to highlight. Qatar is a test bed. I hear it everywhere. Qatar is a test bed. What does it mean, a test bed? And when you can decide that you have done with your own test bed, is it from the first client or from the client number 100? So if you want to go outside, especially B2B, if you want to go outside of Qatar, if you think 1 or 2 references is enough for you, or 5 references, you are completely mistaken. So Qatar is a test bed. That means the whole Qatar market is a test bed for you. The whole Qatar market with its own organizations, with its own populations, is a test bed for you. This is the message. So not 1 reference or 2 references or 3 references is enough for you to go outside of Qatar. And if you cannot succeed in Qatar, it is very hard for you to succeed outside of Qatar. So Qatar is within 10 kilometers radius with 1 city. You can have 1 office and you can reach the whole country with 1 or 2 cities. If you cannot do this here in Qatar, then how are you going to do it in the United States of America or in Kingdom Saudi Arabia with 10 cities, with the whole organizations are scattered in the continent. So my advice to the audience that Qatar is just bad for you to grow, Qatar is just bad for you to prove your idea, Qatar is just bad for you to gain much more references. The more references you get, the more trust in your brand, in your technology, in your team, the more capability you can build your own team and capability with very less expenses. And what Scientific has done, we doubled down on our own investments inside the company, services and products. Instead of 1 product, we are providing 4 products. Instead of services, 1 or 2, we are providing services around our own ecosystem and targeting clients not even 1 time. We are targeting clients, if you become our own client now, we might visit you in a month or 2 with other products and other services. So you become our 4th client at the same time. So yourself becoming our client 4 times at the same time. So this is how to grow inside the country. This is how to grow and have very deep roots inside Qatar. Then you can grow outside. This is my advice. This is the safest way to go outside. Scientific is targeting to go outside Qatar. There were 2 targets I was putting for the company. First of all, to break even. So a company staying a long time before breaking even. I hear that from investments, perspectives, these are normal. These are not normal. Having your company for the first 5 or 6 years not breaking even, it has less and less believers all the time. So breaking even your company, the shorter period of time that you can, is something that you can, I advise you and encourage you to do it. And this was the first condition I put aside for growing outside of Qatar, break even first. So be a profitable company, or be ready to be a profitable company. Second of all, has no less than 100 services. So if I want to grow outside of Qatar and I want to have clients outside, and no matter what type of client I might face, if they are in the financial sector, then I have to go in my history or in our history as a company and financial sector and see how many banks are there and how many very similar environments in order to provide the same experience and even better quality of service. So growing outside of Qatar is not providing the same technology and the same services, even setting the benchmark very high. So companies coming from Qatar has to provide a very good quality of services. So I have a saying, if someone in Qatar is going to make a car, that car has to be a Rolls Royce. So someone needs to come, or something needs to come from inside Qatar. It has to be within the level and within the reputation of the country. So the country, the reputation is very high, and the kind of benchmark that Qatar has done for itself is very high. The same applies for the startups that comes from within the market of Qatar itself. So it has to be in a very high quality services and technology.
I think you've done an exemplary job with the site to make people get more successes. I don't want to monopolize the conversation, but I think if we have a few minutes for some questions.
So first of all, I was also part of the same journey. So we started here at QSTP and we moved from Qatar all the way to Nigeria. So I have a question that I still don't have an answer for. How many customers is enough to expand from Qatar to Saudi, for example? 10, 100, you said 100. And then the second question is, how do you convince the big corporations? Do you still go through the long cycles, or do you give them a free trial, or offer free advice? How do you do it?
First of all, may I know, I see your name is Abdullah Al-Khinji, from which I cannot read the
Yeah, so it's Abdullah Khinji and from Finjan, we are an angel investment group. But we had a startup called Medi, which was a healthcare platform. We started here in Qatar and we expanded to Saudi and the region.
What you are doing in Mid is a great experience. So now this explains why you are talking about expansion. First of all, the answer, or my answer is, I'm answering the kind of conversation that is happening now in the market. You have to go outside. To go outside, how? How? Why? Why you need to go outside? To become profitable, you can be profitable here in Qatar. So why you need to go outside? Is it to export, knowledge-based economy? Then this is something we can speak of. Then why we are not capable of growing inside? If the technology is good and the market is very open. So the answer is it's as simple as this. You need to go to the clients, convince them that you have technology, and make them pay for those technologies and use it. As simple as this. To go outside of Qatar, to go and, as an example of the Saudi market, why I need to go to the Saudi market is to increase the expansion or increase the size of the company and the growth of the company. This is number one. Number two, are you ready for that challenge or not? So once I'm saying I'm setting a benchmark for my own company, it's 100 reference, is to make sure that I have enough strong backbone before it gets cracked in the Saudi Arabian market, or in France, or in the USA, or in even Japan. So Qatar is a test bed for companies that are very heavily going to grow, rigorously grow, and validate its own technology one time, after one time, after one time. And there is very slight possibilities that all those kinds of references are agreeing on something that is not legit, it's not true, it's not actually complete. So I'm setting a very high benchmark for Cyclate, and we are very close to achieve that, by the way. This was a very long target to achieve, but alhamdulillah, going outside of the market with 100 references, give me someone who can challenge it. Big corporates are the first believers of Cyclate. Because simply we can show them their own mistakes in cybersecurity, as simple as this. You are investing heavily in cybersecurity, still we can bypass your security actions. We provide you the technology, and we are here to provide you employee technology, economic saving technology, so you are spending less on that technology. You are getting much more service and much more support. And your answers or your questions for the first time has been answered by a vendor of cybersecurity. Usually as, let's say you are the biggest bank in Qatar, or the biggest aviation company, or the biggest oil and gas company. Ask a vendor to solve your own problem in cybersecurity. You know what is going to happen? They will never answer it. And they will never solve it. And they will continue using their own technologies. Now they have a replacement by technology that is even as better technology as those vendors that are coming from outside. And that national vendor is answering their questions, showing them better technology, spending less. And actually, they are counting on you to be their own reference outside of Qatar. So if you are opening the governance reports to check what technology that you want to use, no, you are going to open the governance panel and give your own feedback about that vendor. So later on, reports are being written about you. You are participating in those reports as well. So this is the mindset I want to change out of consumer taste. Instead of being a very pure consumer market, and reading those reports and to participate in those reports. Yeah.
You have one more question, maybe 3 minutes.
Very quickly, Ahmad, very inspiring, always, and you and I spoke before. What would be the best advice you can give to one of the founders listening to you right now when it comes to, you said something really, really humbling when you said how many times you got to know either from investors, instead of customers. It's all that kind of resiliency and not taking it personally. What would be that best advice you can give? Because many founders, especially at early stage, they get slapped many times and they take it personally and they might give up. So thanks to you, what would be that advice?
Thank you for your question. But just I want to highlight one thing on those slaps. Those slaps were never planned. So, and by the way, they were never put into very good gesture to make your company stronger. They just happened because they just happened. And it is very hard for someone with a single knowledge base or experience to give you comments about many other fields at the same time. I am talking to you as entrepreneurs. I'm talking to you as people in the same journey that I am talking to. Don't let people easily let you down. And if you let people to let you down, that means this is a weakness not in your ideas, weakness in your own personality. And if you can show the person with all the respect, with very good cultural that represent you, wherever you are from, whoever you are, that your comment about my idea is not legitimately or not 100% accurate. You don't have an experience in the field that we're operating in, and the market is completely new. So based on what judgment they give me the down kind of comments. And I'm not saying that be very hard into accepting the feedback. Accept feedback, take feedback. Feedback are making you strong, but don't take any feedback. Be very selective in the feedback you take. Because some feedbacks are going to diverge you away from your own journey. And sometimes they might not take you off road. Especially if it comes from someone not who's subject matter expert or not very sincere in the advice they give. Yeah. So I'm giving you one advice as my colleagues. So I remember one single thing that's why I have a lot of respect to you, Muhammad. That I visited him 4 years ago. You can ask him, and he gave me a whole explanation of how the market works, how the VC works, how the investments works, how the funds works, how the market operates in a piece of napkin. He still have it in my office. And he never speaks about this. He never gives you like advice Hamid or advice Haifa or advice Marshall. He will give you the sincere advice. If you see him in his office busy, bombard him, knock on his door, take the advice. If he doesn't sound very welcome, which is always he sound very welcome. If you see him busy, open the door, take the advice. He has seen Cytomate and others before Cytomate, and tons of companies before Cytomate, and he will keep seeing after Cytomate. And the same as every other professional that you get comfortable with in QC. So I have advices from Muhammad, I have advices from Hanifa, I have advices from the different presidents of the QC. But I was very concrete in one thing, that I'm going to change the market, how to operate the cybersecurity, at least here in Qatar. And this is the impact I'm going to do. Whether the people like it, whether they don't like it, I will do it. As simple as this. So don't let people to let you down easily. If they let you down, that means they should have gone through a very big amount of job to let you down. Letting you down is one of the most hardest jobs. This is my advice.
Thank you very much, CEO. Okay, thank you very much, Tom. Wonderful. It's good to have that reality check every now and then. It's very necessary. I think if it's okay with everyone, we'll continue. If we take a break, then it could be a 15, 20-minute break. So let's continue with the next presentation. I'll ask that the chairs be removed, please. dental health tech, so dental AI. You're up. This will be in Arabic too, please.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. معكم أستاذ آسيا التفريقة، مؤسسة مشروع دنتال AI إلكترونيك بروجكت كوردينيتور. سعيدة جدا بوجودي معكم اليوم. للأسف أثبتت المنظمة العالمية للصحة أن 2.3 مليون شخص حول العالم يعانون من مشاكل تسوس الأسنان. في دولة قطر 85% من الأطفال اللي تتراوح أعمارهم بين 12 و 14 سنة بيعانون من نفس المشكلة. عند إجراء مقابلات مع دكاترة الأسنان أثبتنا أن السبب الرئيسي لارتفاع نسبة تسوس الأسنان هو عدم التزام الأهالي والمرضى بالفحوصات الدورية تشيك اب. هذا مما يؤدي إلى اكتشاف التسوس في مراحل متأخرة، ومنها يتطلب علاجات مكلفة مثل علاجات العصب التي يصل سعرها إلى 4000 ريال قطري للدرس الوحدة. مثلا أنا أم ل4 أطفال، لأن إحنا عائلة تتكون من 6 أشخاص. خلال السنة الحالية حجزت أكثر من 14 موعد كلفني أكثر من 12,000 ريال قطري. من هنا جت فكرة دنتال AI سمارت هوم ديفايس، من خلاله نقدر نسوي فحوصات الأسنان الدورية من البيت، وبالتالي اكتشاف تسوس الأسنان في مراحل متقدمة والتوفير في علاجات الأسنان. قمنا بالتصميم البروتوتايب 3D. من أهم مميزات استخدام 3HD كاميرا with LED light لتصوير الأسنان من مختلف الزوايا، بالإضافة إلى interchangeable hat for personal use و rotative camera unit، بالإضافة إلى magnetic attachment و removable camera unit. بدون ما ننسى beauty sanitizer للحفاظ على الجهاز معقم. الجهاز يتم توصيله عن طريق ابلكيشن. من مميزات الابلكيشن انه ممكن الاطلاع على حالة الأسنان، بالإضافة إلى إصدار تقرير باستخدام الذكاء الاصطناعي من خلال نقدر نتعرف على مشاكل الأسنان، بالإضافة إلى العلاجات المقترحة، وفي نفس الوقت ممكن الوصول إلى عيادات الأسنان وحجز المواعيد. هذا الفيديو يوضح طريقة استخدام الجهاز عن طريق من خلال تغيير رأسية الجهاز، التحكم في الكاميرا يونت، تركيبها في المكان المخصص، بالإضافة إلى توصيلها إلى الأبليكيشن عن طريق الواي فاي، ومن ثم يتم تمريرها على الأسنان. هي الطريقة كويك سكان، وبالتالي ممكن نعرض حالة الأسنان وعرض التقارير الفورية والتواصل مع دكاترة الأسنان وحجز المواعيد كلها من مكان واحد. Our customers كل الأفراد والعوائل اللي بيهتموا بسلامة الأسنان ويواجهون مشاكل في الوقت وفي تكاليف العلاج. بسبب انتشار التسوس وغياب الحلول الذكية لرعاية الأسنان، الدنتال AI يتميز بفرصة قوية من خلال الجلوبالي ماركت تتراوح 50 مليون و3 مليون للسوق الوسطى وجنوب افريقيا و70 مليون بقطر ودول الخليج. بزنس موديل دنتال AI يوفر 3 مصادر ربح من خلال بيع الجهاز 1000 ريال قطري، الاشتراك السنوي 300 ريال للوصول لمميزات الجهاز، بالإضافة إلى 10% كوميشن يستخدمها من عيادات الأسنان للمواعيد التي يتم حجزها من قبل الابلكيشن. Our competitors طبعا يوجد في السوق أجهزة شبيهة، بس الميزة اللي تخصص الدنتال AI هو استخدام الذكاء الاصطناعي، طريقة التصوير وحجز المواعيد عن طريق الابلكيشن. Our ask $100,000 لتصميم الجهاز، تجربة الجهاز والانطلاق في السوق المحلي. احنا تيم من 5 افراد يتمتعون بخبرات مختلفه، استاذ عمر بروجكت مانجر، استاذ مصطفى المتخصص في الابلكيشن تطوير الذكاء الاصطناعي، استاذ اسامه CTO، واستاذ ابتهال ميديكال ادفايزر دانتس. بالاخير دانتس AI ليس مجرد جهاز، هو نقله نوعيه في مجال الصحه الذكيه للرعايه بالاسنان والفم. وشكرا.
Go ahead. He's first.
يعطيك العافية. سؤالي هو في ظل كثرة أدوات الذكاء الاصطناعي الطبية، كلمينا أكثر كيف راح تبنون ثقة بين جهازكم وأطباء الأسنان على أساس أنهم أهم عامل في المجال؟
أطباء الأسنان اللي يكونوا موجودين عندنا في الأبلكيشن في نوعين، يعني في كاتيجوريز. في عندنا دكاترة الأسنان راح يكونوا مختصين بمتابعة التقارير. معنا في التيم أستاذ ابتهال، هي اللي بتشرف على جميع أول شيء على مكتبة الذكاء الاصطناعي، يتم من خلال تغذية مكتبة الذكاء الاصطناعي وتأكد من دقة التقارير. تمام. في الدكاترة اللي راح يكونوا هم موظفين في العيادة هي الاشتراك مع العيادات.
ما مدى احتياج المريض او الشخص على هاي الجهاز اذا كان ايش يكون هذه مع الادويه اذا كان عنده تامين غذائي؟
سواء انا معي تامين. طيب انا معي تامين، خلصت التامين ولسه حالي بروح على دكاتره الاسنان وبدفع مبلغ معين. يعني هو التامين ما يغطي كل الاسنان. الدرس اللي يفقدها، يعني الدرس ممكن بعد ما تشيل العصب تصير درس ضعيفه. تمام؟ لما تشيل الدرس تدخل في موضوع الزراعه، من الزراعه لاشياء ثانيه، ما اتوقع التامين يقدر يغطي كل هالمبالغ.
عندك نسبة مثلا الاحتياجات الموجودة في الدوحة أو الخليج عندنا؟ يعني نسبة الناس اللي مثلا جدا في حالات أخرى يحتاجون يسوون زراعة بعدين والتأمين ما يغطي.
احنا خلال السنة هذه كلنا نتواصل مع دكاترة الأسنان لمستشفى الأهلي لعيادات الروتس وعيادات كثيرة. يعني النسبة جدا عالية، بس كنسبة في البداية احنا ذكرنا تقارير عن نسبة التسوس في العالم، بس في قطر 85%، بس نسبة الأطفال بين 12 و 14 سنة كلهم بيعانوا من التسوس. من 8 سنين إلى 10 سنين، من 4 سنين إلى 8 سنين 65%. هي نسب قدرنا الدراسات الحقيقية اللي قدرنا نوصل لها لحد الحين. يعني نسبة كبيرة. تفضل.
آخر ملاحظة بس، ذكرتي أن سبب من الأسباب أن عدم اهتمام أولياء الأمور بخصوص التسوس، ومعظم التسوس حق الأطفال أو صغار السن. إذا صحيح؟
أنا مش ضرورة. أنا اليوم جاي من العيادة بعاني من مشكلة التسوس.
أوكي، لأن أنا اللي فهمت الحين من كلامك اللي هي معظم صغار السن هم اللي عندهم تسوس.
لا بالعكس، احنا قلنا 2.3 مليون شخص حول العالم بيعانوا من تسوس الأسنان. ذوي الأخطر أكثر فئة بتعاني هي الأطفال من 12 إلى 14 سنة، مش معناها أنهم الوحيدين اللي يحتاجوا رعاية أسنان. كل شخص هو محتاج لرعاية أسنان. لا، كل الأشخاص والأهالي.
Just a question for you. I think maybe I understood everything in Arabic, but my question is very simple. You did the problem, the solution, the market, follow the market, speak with the team, mashallah, everything was clear to you. One thing I did not see, how are you going to monetize? I saw the business model, A2B and B2C. Two questions for you. Which one do you think, from a revenue perspective, would be what I call shorter sales cycle? That's my first question. Second question, I did not see the revenue. How are you going to basically in the next 3 years, let's say you're going to, inshallah, get your investments, I do not see a projection on the revenue side.
Pipeline.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. Two questions, B2B or B2C. If you have to make a decision, which one do you think is the shorter?
اوكي البي تو بي هو الاكثر عادي الجواب بالعربي اوكي البي تو بي هو اكثر ربح لان احنا بنبيع الجهاز 1000 ريال قطري بس تكلفه الجهاز 450 ريال قطري فبيكون البي تو سي اكثر يعني اكثر ربحا على البي تو بي تمام بخصوص التايم لاين احنا كنا عاملين دراسه كامله خلال 3 سنين مقبله من حيث 2024 او 2026 بيكون البرودكت والبيور تيستينج وبعدين ماركتنج وميديكال بالتشجيع افتر اكسبانشن قطر اند جي سي سي وبعدين سبيد فاندريز اند ريبورتنج لانش واخر شيء في 2028 نكون باطنين السوق العالميه.
I was really looking for the revenue side of things. No.
توقعات من بين الحدثين. اي سؤال ثاني؟
شكرا على الأسئلة. Good questions, good feedback from the judges. Our next team is LGQ. Please join us.
Hello everyone, my name is Asa Asmani and this is Hilda Kazi and we are AlgaQ. So at AlgaQ we develop smart bioreactors with a focus on climate education.
So, climate change and air pollution, problem we've been hearing about for years, but it keeps on rising owing to the increasing urbanization and industrialization. Also, even with the severity of the problem, there is a gap in the current curriculum with lack of clarification. Also, children, they need clean air. They are vulnerable because they are still developing and are prone to respiratory issues like asthma, and they spend more of their time outside. So, we propose microalgae-based bioreactor, which has the capacity to convert carbon dioxide into oxygen, and they will enable children to learn through hands-on learning experience. So, why microalgae over trees? Not only they can capture carbon more efficiently, but also they produce valuable byproducts in the form of biomass, which has many applications, as you can see over here. And did you know 50% of Earth's oxygen supply is from microalgae? Through this, we aim to make the children understand about the impacts of climate change, help them learn the science of microalgae, and inculcate a sense of responsibility among them to take action to protect their planet. Our content includes booklets, DIY bioreactor kits, and it would be activity-based learning experience with bioreactor assembling, cultivating microalgae, and as future activities, biomass extraction. We also have concept for bioreactors for learning spaces. Then we have a climate station where the kids can learn through individualized immersive experience about climate change and microalgae through audio and visual content. So, a small 500 ml bioreactor is as efficient as 10 household plants and can absorb up to 160 to 180 mg of CO2 daily, which is said to have, which is said to increase the cognitive performance as well.
So for our first client, we're aiming for Qatar Foundation. Qatar Foundation has 13 schools and over 8,000 students, and all the schools are lab equipped, which gives us a leverage to bring our solutions. And for future objectives, we have a concept idea for a bio park, and this is the indoor bio park concept, and this is the outdoor bio park. And for our business model, we will make revenue through direct sales of our bioreactors and educational content, as well as licensing fees, and recurring revenue from our algae culture and media nutrients, as well as biomass. And all our operations are done in-house from local, cultivating our local strains, as well as utilizing local suppliers for our sustainable packaging, and employing local talent, as well as printing our 3D bioreactors. And for our traction, we've been part of many events and participated in 2 panel discussions, and also were supported by EarthNet and Studio 5, as well as incubated by MCIT. And we also won the Green Tech Startup of the Year. So for research and development, we're doing R&D activities on our smart bioreactors and biomass production, as well as our biological CO2 sequestration. So we're a team that is committed to R&D activities. Myself, Hassa Al-Thani, Huda Kazi, Rafi Al-Jassim, and Teha Al-Thani. And also we're a team of innovators, scientists, and engineers, and builders. And we asked for 300,000 riyal in seed funding, as well as space for our lab activities. And let's not just learn about climate change, but be part of the change. And I also want to thank Studio 5 for helping us with our prototype and also giving us access to their lab equipment.
So algae, it's plants, okay, and the nutrients we are utilizing, it's not some harmful chemicals. Even if it is spilled, it does not affect the children or anybody which is using around it. So it's completely safe, and it's just the nutrients and the culture which is growing.
Thank you, Team Altitude. Thank you very much. Well done. And our next startup.
Oh my.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shafir Lashwa, the Executive Director of Global Studies Institute, in partnership with Arkansas State University. But I'm also the father of 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. I can tell you about the experience of Ahmed and Hamad when they applied for university. Is that a clicker? I can tell you about the experience of Ahmed and Hamad when they applied for university. They went to American International School in Jeddah and they wanted to go to the US. And so in order for them to apply to US universities, they looked into a central platform, applied to 9 universities. Usually people apply to universities that are kind of like hard to get into, and then universities that are target, and then they have like a backup. As a result of applying to 9 universities, you do get rejections, but you also get acceptances. This is not the experience of students in Qatar. 16,000 students graduate in Qatar every year. And unfortunately, many of them have a lot of challenges accessing universities, accessing the right colleges. Only about 50% of the students are actually able to get into the universities. The rest have a lot of struggles when it comes to matching them with the right major, matching them with the right university, and also issues relating to funding and other challenges. What we are envisioning is, basically right now the challenge for students is they would have to access every university by itself to access their application portal. So the information is unstructured, the application process is a bit complicated, and then getting information and getting feedback is what is also challenging. What we're envisioning is a centralized platform, not just to access information, but to actually apply to universities. And we understand that this is a bit ambitious, but through the features that we plan to offer through this platform, from the smart filtering, which allows to filter by program, by university, location, cost, and things like that, in addition to an AI advisor, which would provide support and guidance for students. We believe that these functions and features will allow parents and students to have informed decision-making through this application process. So basically, it's a platform that links all the universities. We are not thinking about just the universities in Qatar. We are thinking GCC. We are also envisioning a platform where Western universities will also be able to advertise and promote their universities, because everyone is trying to get students from the region. And so there would be an ability for students to access the portal, search programs, bachelor, master, PhD, but it's also, even though we're talking about students, but we're envisioning a centralized platform that offers opportunities for education, upskilling, and professional development, which becomes community portal where people will become a destination for people to go to. And so initially, so when people find the university, find the program, they will be able to apply directly for that program, and then we can maybe answer some questions relating to methodology. Then we have the AI app in the portal, providing information and guidance during this process. So this is not only time saving, but also in terms of providing the information, giving people the options, the choices of universities, programs, and getting them the result that they seek. Our revenue model depends on commission-based fees from the universities, and then featuring universities or through advertisement, and eventually later on the student from premium features. There are about actually 4.5 million students in the GCC, only in high school. And so if we divide that in half, from grade 11 and 12, that's about 2 million students. But I think our pool would be beyond 1 million students. And in terms of social statistics, so there are other features, other platforms, and we do have listing. So we have at Arabia and similar websites that do listing. Then we have also a counseling platform like Leverage EDU. We're envisioning to be more than information portal, but rather to be an application portal. We're only asking for about 200,000 to allow us to develop the app and for customer acquisition initially. We're 4 people with a combined experience of 15 years. I began my work in New York City in K-12 education for 5 years, and then worked to Saudi Arabia for 8 years, and I've been here for Qatar for 4 years. Total of 12 years in higher education. In addition to my teammates, we have Syed Kingsley Hassan covering the IT, the development, and also of the marketing. Thank you so much for your time.
I have a question.
Yeah, I just have one question. Could you tell me more on how your solution applies to universities on behalf of the students?
On behalf of students, could you just clarify that aspect?
Your pitch was that this is an AI model that will enable you to apply to universities.
Yeah, the AI is just one portion that will help students in terms of guiding them. So, for example, if they're asking about programs, it will give them information about the programs, maybe about their interests, maybe about suggesting locations. But the actual features, they will be able to do the filtering and seeking the universities on their own.
And the application process, is it something on the students' responsibility to apply themselves, or is the platform helping them in any way? Or
yeah, so the idea for the app is for students to be able to apply themselves. So they will self-select universities, which makes them very strong, high-quality leads for the universities that are seeking those students. So right now, the universities are spending millions on attracting students. So instead of them, for example, spending on social media and trying to get those leads, these students will be self-selected and so high-value leads for the universities.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Question.
Audience, if an audience has a question, we'll do that after.
Hello everyone, I'm Giuliano Palazzi. I'm a founder of Palazzi Instruments. I'll start with the affirmation that speed and acceleration are not really easy metrics to measure in sports. Why is it important to measure? In sports where milliseconds and millimeters are crucial, they are the most valuable metrics for any athlete. I'm sure you've all watched the World Cup final. What would the result have been had the French gotten to the ball quicker in the 120th minute when it was saved by the Argentinian goalkeeper? Quick run through how coaches are measuring it today. Stopwatches, it's not really precise. It carries the error of the user and the reaction time. Timing gates, they remove the error of the user, but they just remain that. They're just a fancy stopwatch. They're not really detailed enough to make an in-depth analysis of the sprint. If you want to increase the detail, you can buy more timing gates, but apart from the fact that they cost money, by the time you're done setting them up, the training of your athletes will have finished because it's really a hassle to set them up. GPS. Apart from the fact that they cost 2,000 each and generally are both one per player in a team, they're geared for other types of metrics like total distance run, average velocity, and they don't really play nice indoors, so forget about using them in Qatar in summer, outside, unless you want to train outside. Video analysis, it used to be that you have to have expensive high velocity cameras, but now the camera, the slow motion camera on your iPhone is enough. In spite of that, someone still, after the training, so not giving immediate feedback, after the training has to slave away frame by frame, marking and measuring each frame to get the metrics. So we finally arrived to laser lighthouse, which is the most precise to measure velocity, and it's really just a matter of taking your instrument, measuring when you sprint, and that's it. You have your speed profile. So for those reasons, it's the technology we're going to employ in our solution. Before talking about our solution, we'll talk about the current solution in the industry. This is the LAVEC, German instrument, unrivaled in precision. It has matured beyond research. It is currently being used to benchmark whenever new speed devices come onto the market. The LAVEC is the one that is used to benchmark and to see if it's accurate or not. The thing is, it's from the 80s and hasn't really been updated since. This means it has a military-grade battery, very bulky. We weighed it and it's like 3.5 kilos. It makes it very cumbersome and hard to set up. And it's really a hassle for the coach, which is the user of the device, to use it. It has tedious cables, and it's long cables that get tangled, and always more time than you spend, and you also need adapters to adapt back into the 80s. And the software, you have to wrestle against it to use it. And on top of that, it burns a hole in your wallet because it's 12,000 euros. This is our solution. No compromise, in precision, or over 5 times cheaper, 10 times lighter, so way more portable. Has wireless, so you forget about cables, and the software has all the data processing for standards in today's literature. So it's way better for getting the metrics you want. Let's run through how it's used. You take the device, that's me, with a tripod, you set it up behind the athlete, and trigger it when, start measuring when they sprint. It sprints away and it measures 100 times a second. The velocity and acceleration at each instant. After that, the coach gets an instant report made by the software and can give immediate feedback to the athlete. If they want to get different metrics, it gives a lot of metrics. It's very intuitive to use, so it will be done. The software, we currently have 95% done, the Windows application, and we will make a phone application for both Apple and Android. Both have cloud connection. Cloud connection is useful for managing a fleet of athletes, also seeing the history of all the progression, and gives also the ability to share. If you are more than one coach, you can manage and see the data for more than one athlete. And let's go. This is a sample of a report. So we can skip through it. Basically, it gives the speed curve and the splits and the max velocity. It's very useful, all very useful information for the coaches. Our revenue model is a one-time purchase method. So one-time purchase for the device and an optional 250 annual fee for the cloud. Our production costs are around $100, but we're sure we can get it down. Today, for the market, is currently the later LiDARs are gate kept for big institutions. It costs 12,000 euros. We want to bring it down to the masses, to the grassroots, so that everyone can improve and benefit from this technology. Here are some numbers about the just in region. The main takeaway from here is that there's 30,000 coaches, still only in the region, but we can global. Traction. We are in contact with the 5 top international sports science coaches, and that have shown interest and are willing to beta test, are going to be our beta testers. And we have also contacted 3 selling networks that have already told us they want to sell our device once it's finished. Our plastics, electronics, and computer application are almost complete, so we are asking for 100,000 reals to hire app developer, web developer, and marketing. Stocking components for the first 100 units, to produce the first 100 units and explore potential IT solutions. Finally, what I'm really here to pitch, the team. I'm Giuliano, I'm CEO and founder. I'm a computer engineering student, and I'm also a fencer and athlete for the Argentinian national team. And my father, Dino, also founder, is a bioengineer specializing in sports science and biomechanics, and has been working in the industry for over 3.5 decades. Thank you for the presentation, and special thanks to Hilaria and Studio 5 for guiding us in the classics development. Thank you.
You did a good job, thank you. It's working, honestly. Any questions from the judges?
Yeah, now I understand why Dad referred to his son to pitch. So you're doing a good job. Couple of questions. One of them is on the technology side. Did you actually do the test, the performance test, to compare the legacy technology, the German technology, to this one, and with some facts behind it? That's my first question. The second question, because you're doing amazing software in the background, let's say soccer match, basketball, just the two my favorite sports. As you're measuring every single athlete, can you put on top of that a sophisticated algorithm to do the analytics for the coach? So at least you can have some small decision about the positioning of the, this is just a question. Because you are doing, with your device, you're doing the speed element of it, but let's say you have multiple of these on 12 players in the field. Can you eventually put some algorithm to the analytics based on those movements and speeds? Just those two questions. Excellent.
For the first one, we are using sensors that are 40 years newer than the gold standard. I would say they are more accurate. But we compare side to side, of course. For the second question, during a game or during a race, you have no time for that. You need to do your homework before that. So during training, and even during competitions in athletics, you can measure the speed in the straight line. But in a basketball game or football game, no. The players are profiled during training because you have targets in speed, and you are monitoring the velocity, let's say, on a weekly basis. If your training loads are improving the player or not. Some coaches give too much load to the player, and the players go exhausted, and they cannot improve the velocity. And this is a way to show that this is the wrong kind of training you are doing that. It's a very efficient tool to target training on a personalized basis.
My question is also about scalability. Can this be waterproof? Can you participate like a tennis ball, bowling ball? Like, can this be expanded to other sectors?
So that means a radar. Because the tennis ball and the basketball or the football is a small object. You need a radar. It's a different instrument. And in tennis could be, but in football, the velocity of the ball, it doesn't imply that you can score a goal. The more the velocity of the object, the less the accuracy. So, but a successful player is a fast player.
So there's an opt-in, we call it norms, but basically where we compile the global data, we compile global data, and coaches can compare their athletes to global standards. So that
Thank you everyone for your patience. So I think I would like to ask the four judges and me to convene in a separate room. And can you put the, Jesse, can you put the, I said promise in the beginning, you can vote. So what you do, I hope this works really. Can you get the QR codes back up? Yeah. So this is the QR code, you select the first place. You'll see a short summary of all the teams, because I know some of you are on second place, third place. Your scores will be part of the judging scores as well, and then we'll announce the winners. About 10 minutes, so please vote quickly. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.